True. True.
True.
Yeah. Let's go.
True.
Yerp. What's good? We got Besco in the building early. Shout out to the biddies. Going ham already. Already. We just opened our ass, chat. Besco going ham already. What's good? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? W biddies. Shout out to Besco in the chat. Let's see if my functions actually work. Let's see. I think I can get my functions to work today. Let's see. Does it work? Does it work? Do I need to do my function inside of the streamer dashboard? Let's see. Let's see. Does it work? Because at some point, something's got to give. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. Y'all remember that song? Ain't nothing wrong with me. Ain't nothing wrong with me. W's in the chat if you remember that song. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. So clearly Streamlabs is working. But maybe the shout out function is just like, you know what? I'm tired of people telling me what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do my own thing. You feel me, chat? How are y'all feeling? It was a long weekend. A long weekend. Filled with baby shower fun and family celebrations. If this kid or 2000, they don't. Exactly. You know, every now and again, Besco, I like aging myself. You know, I like having those references in there that I know people are like, oh, shit. I haven't heard or seen or thought about this in such a long time. And it's like, dang, true, just bringing back some good old memories. Because I keep telling y'all, my memories run deep. You know what I'm saying? It's a blessing. My memories run so deep, and it's such a wide range of memories. That's why I say y'all never know what y'all gonna get. Y'all can literally get anime references, references from movies, references from songs. Shout out to that girl B entering the chat. What's good with you, B? How you feeling today? How are you feeling? Y'all was doing y'all thing yesterday. Shout out to B. I wish I could give a shout out because my stream elements Let's see. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. Yeah, you was standing up and walking around and hosting and doing all those things. Shout out to you. Shout out to baby Noah. Shout out to baby Bonnet Gang. You feel me? Listen, chat. Oh yeah, of course. Y'all know. Y'all know. Y'all know. You know what I'm saying? Y'all my family. We're definitely a community. We gotta support each other. And having a baby is a special thing. You know, I'll give y'all some TMI, but there are no more kids coming out of me. But I got two children, and I definitely understand. And I had a conversation with Pay one day, and we were talking about like how when you grow up in certain areas or certain places, and it's not even that shouldn't even be the reason, but sometimes you don't always have family that treats you like family. And I felt that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'd be in the same situation. A lot of times, I'd be real with y'all. Like when I was younger and my grandmother was still on this earth, my family was pretty, tight knit. You thinking you done too? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? After two kids, your mental capacity gotta be strong to handle more kids. They say, well, three is just like two, but it's still three. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, 10,000%. But yeah, when my grandmother was on this earth, and maybe some people will resonate with this, but we had a very strong bond within my family. All the kids, meaning myself and all my cousins, we used to get dropped off at my grandmother's house, so we spent a lot of time together. But the family structure was strong. And if this is the first time I'm saying this on stream, I have a huge family, chat. And if y'all wonder like why it's true not looking at the camera and I'm trying to figure out where to look, so I did do a little upgrade this weekend, and now I got multiple screens in front of me, and I'm trying to just figure it out. Anyway, I have a huge family. My mom is one of 16 children. 16, chat. I have cousins that are older than my mom, right? I have one of those family structures where some of the cousins, we like third cousins, but they my age. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of us. But when my grandmother passed away when I was younger, she was like, you know what I'm saying? I got something in my eye. She was like, like soul food, right? How the family started kind of breaking up a little bit after the grandma passed away or the matriarch of the family. That's kind of how my family was. And I was still young. And we grew up, let's just say, in a neighborhood that people wouldn't want to live in. Like if you lived in that neighborhood, you lived in it because you had no choice but to live there, right? My wife is like, let's make a girl. If you promise you're going to, yeah, nah. Nah, exactly, Besco. No, you won't catch me. You guys aren't going to try again for a, no, we're not. We're not. You try as much as you want. I'm not trying for shit. But back to my point. Just because y'all blood don't always mean y'all family. Because some of them niggas is shiesty. Some of them motherfuckers is shiesty. Like, you will not catch me. And, it could be some people I hung out with when I was growing up. And I'm talking about actual family. And it could be some that I didn't. But trust me, just because you're actual family don't mean shit. That's why I always used to use the saying when I talk to one of my good friends. It's like, blood wouldn't make us any closer. You know what I'm saying? We've been there for each other way more than a lot of people that you would expect it to have been there in your life, especially growing up and stuff like that. Sorry, chat. But yeah. And then, when it really kicked in, so now I kind of like the space that I'm in now. I don't talk to all of my family, but I talk to the ones that I need to talk to. That's how I feel. But and again, I have a huge family, so keeping up with all these people, I ain't got time to be on the phone all day. it really kicked in, chat, when I went to college. When I went to college, because I went to college, so I applied for college when I was in high school. And like, I call it maybe a couple days before I graduated from high school, I got a letter in the mail. And I probably still have that letter somewhere. But it said, hey, True, thanks for applying and accepting our acceptance to our university. We got some good news for you and all the incoming freshmen. In case you are unaware, there's an opportunity that the university hosts every year, right? It's a program that gives you early access to the campus that allows you to take up to 3 classes, and those 3 classes will be covered by the university, right? So they like, basically you can come up here and take free classes during the summer. It's a summertime program, chat. If you want to take this opportunity, all you got to do is accept it. We'll make sure your dorm room and everything is established and ready for you when you arrive. Ready just means you're gonna be able to check in. You're gonna get a key. They ain't give you no blankets or nothing. It was just a damn cot when you walk in that bitch. But hey, listen, nonetheless, it was available. So chat, in the space I was in when I graduated high school, bro, I was basically everything except for the black wig. You know what I'm saying? Like one of those, dang. See, I wish I could give you the reference right now where it's very like, the gothic reference. If somebody can think of it, put it in there. 'Cause tonight will be the night that I will fall for you. Yeah, I was basically like, yeah, I'm gone. So as soon as I graduated high school, I went straight to college, chat, like a week after. I'm talking a week after. And then once that happened, that family that I was talking about, B, the ones that I kind of still talk to, them niggas was like, yeah, he's done. It's a wrap. He's gone. Right? It was like I had left the planet. And it's like, bro, I went to college. That was it. And then once I finished college and came back, oh, that's a whole different, like you didn't live the whole different life. And then but you come back and it's like, you realize like everything has been missing. I had a conversation with one of my good friends one time and he was like, man, I went to college with everyone and, I still want to, try some things out. And he was, thinking about the military. Shout out to you if you're watching this, you know who you are. But he's like, I just feel like, and we were still young. So it's like, I feel like if I go away, then I'm going to miss a lot. And I'm like, bro, you're not going to miss nothing. Life don't go as fast as people think. I'm like, you're not going to miss nothing. You go, you give it a good 2 to 5 years, get yourself established, make a name for yourself, do all that, come back, bro. The real one's still going to be right here waiting for you, bro. That's what he did. He left, came back, and he was pleasantly surprised. Of course, some people have moved further along in their career, which is always a good thing. Some people in the same spot. But at the end of the day, whoever was a real one was still going to be there for you. They were still going to be there. But he came back knowing, all right, I'm a different person now. I think different. I experience some different things. So shout out to y'all again. I know that was a lot of talking, but the purpose is like, shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody who showed up for y'all baby shower. Shout out to everybody who showed up on stream for y'all baby shower. Drop subs, drop biddies. I mean, that was a vibe. That's support. You know what I'm saying? That's what you would expect out of your real family. Like, people need to be showing up. Yo, show up with some fucking diapers. Show up with some baby clothes. I don't care what size it is. The shit could be 8 months too big. I don't care. Show up with something. Show up that you support us. You know what I'm saying? Give a gift card or something. Like, help us out. Don't just come here, especially we having a baby. We putting up bread to celebrate y'all at the same time so y'all can we can all feel the love, but don't just come and eat food and collect plates and leave and be like, yeah, appreciate y'all. Nigga, no. That's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? We're making sure that our guests are taken care of because we know that y'all taking care of us as well. Not like a this for that type of situation. It's like we're showing appreciation through making sure y'all not going home hungry. You know, in certain situations, you know, people may have some drinks and stuff like that. I did see, I'm not gonna lie, I saw somebody in the chat say, I don't know who it was, but I think somebody had a drink or somebody took a shot. And I just ignored it because I saw somebody in the chat say, oh, wow, somebody took a shot at a baby shower. Like, niggas can't take shots because it's a pregnant woman present. This is her baby shower. And I'll tell you right now, chat, not only was my baby shower on a Sunday similar to Pay and B's yesterday, but we also, during all the baby games and all that stuff that was going on, we had the football game on the TV, and we had an open bar because a baby don't stop a party. The baby ain't drinking. What the hell? That shit drive me crazy sometimes because it act like people are just like, wow, because they live their life the way they want. Like if somebody wants to fucking drink or smoke, let them do whatever the hell they want to do. If you don't approve of it, then fucking leave or log off or whatever the fuck you got to do. But don't be like, what? Taking shots? Like, nigga, the fuck is you talking about? Anyway, I'm off of that tangent. Feel me? But y'all already know. If y'all know True going have an open bar. True going have an open bar. If I have a function, the bar is going to be open. I don't care what that function is. Yes, if it's a function where also kids are present, yes, all the adults are going to have to be more vigilant to make sure, especially in an open bar situation, that no kids and stuff are getting next to it. That's not difficult, though. Kids don't just try to go grab drinks. Like, not all kids. Some kids will try that shit. But y'all know the vibe. Y'all know the vibe. So shout out to all y'all. But today, chat, today we're going to still talk about the stock market. We're going to run our scenarios like we do. Y'all going to get some more information. And don't be shy. Y'all can ask questions. But let me give y'all the quick disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I am not a tax professional. I'm not an accountant. I am not licensed. I am nobody. I'm a zero right now. So everything you hear on this channel is for entertainment purposes only. If you learn something, that's good. But I would also just verify that information through a valid source. Don't consider me your valid source. That is my disclaimer. So I don't want to receive no notifications in the mail that says so-and-so gambled their life savings on something that they heard on my channel, because I told you, True is not licensed. True is not a financial professional in terms of investing and things like that. I am not registered or nothing. I am just entertaining you. I'm just showing you things that exist on the internet and trying to entertain you with the information. So chat, like I told you, I did make some small upgrades over the weekend. So you notice my TV is off today because I have some extra monitors. So let's see how we can get this rocking. All right, here we go. I'm trying to prepare, chat, for when November 15th comes and I have to start switching my stuff around because all of my sounds and everything start to go away. Yeah. All right, so let's see. Let's see how this transition works out for us. Yeah. I like that because now I don't gotta turn my neck. I also don't have to I can still see my Streamlabs. Hold up. Matter of fact, let me show y'all. Let me get a sip of this coffee. And we're going to lock in just a second. So here is, hold up. Let me go back to that mode. All right. So here's the switch up. Boom. Right? This is part of the, so I'm testing out the multiple screen situation, right? So this is what we're dealing with. So while I would normally use the TV is still hooked up as a source, but now this is the setup that I basically did over the weekend. Added a monitor in, switched some stuff around, added in one of these HDMI so I can still keep the TV and stuff connected. Camera, I had to play around with that, but yeah, we got it going, chat. So as we slowly, like I said, approach November 15th, we're going to make sure everything is Gucci with us. All right, so let's go to CNBC, and we're going to take a look at our Christmas bar as well as some headlines. First of all, y'all see red. If you see red, don't be nervous, because I've told you guys hundreds of times. Stocks go up, stocks go down. The red doesn't really mean shit, but it is an indicator of how the market is starting off. It is starting off at the pre-market down, right? Here's the headline. Again, you can use plenty of different sources. We like CNBC. We like reading the headlines of the articles to take a look at some of the things we want to watch out for the week. It is Monday. The news breaking headline is stocks making the biggest pre-market moves. Metsera, Compass, Kenvue, Fox, and more. I have no idea what those companies are, chat. But look them up. If sometimes we make assumptions about what the companies are, blah, blah, blah. But if I had to make an assumption about some of these companies, last week, if I'm not mistaken, Donald Trump, our president, signed an executive order that increased the fees for corporations hiring individuals that work on a H-1B, if I'm not mistaken, right? So that's been affecting a few different companies as well. The H-1B is a visa that, from my understanding, a lot of people in India use, a lot of people in other countries use to come into the United States to work. And a lot of them work in the information technology field, so IT. So they're dealing with your computer systems. They're dealing with your AIs, your things like that. They had a list that was published as well of who the top employers were of H-1B visas. And I think I'm saying it correct, H-1B. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think Amazon was at the top of the list. Also on the list was Tesla and some other folks as well, right? So let's keep that in mind as we go through some of the headlines, knowing that some of our largest companies do have to pay basically $100,000 per employee that has a H-1B visa. And they said previously it was like a couple $1,000. So you can imagine that's a huge hit to your bottom line. Stock futures fall to start the week after Dow S&P 500 hit fresh records. Y'all see that? Fresh records, chat. If they're hitting fresh records, let's take a look at a chart today. Then seeing red is not necessarily a horrible thing, right? Seeing red is not a horrible thing. Here's the SPY, right? So S&P 500. Look at this. We haven't gone over charts yet, and I will go over charts, but let's just put all. Look at this, chat. This thing will go all the way back to inception. What you need to know is this is basically when they started tracking it all the way in the back to all the way to today. And it's at all-time highs, right? This is the highest it's ever been. Respectfully, of course, right? So when you see red pre-market, like, bruh, don't be afraid of that. You see this? This is what you call pre-market, right? That price is 661.83 if you can't see the screen. The last closing price was 663.70. So this little orange line here, let's go up to a higher time frame. Right? I don't know why it's on 1 minute. That's crazy. Right? We go to a higher time frame. Let's go to 1 month, right? So you see where the pre-market is. It's here. That's nothing to worry about, chat. Like, again, when you see this thing at all-time highs, I'm personally not going to be worried. And we'll talk about stocks, charts, and stuff like that later. But I'm not worried until this thing actually starts to really come back. Like, you got to really come back for me to be worried. You see how this thing was up here and it really came back to lower prices. That's when you're quote unquote getting worried. That's when people are starting to lose money. But when you're up here and you drop $2, like, let's be real, right? Fresh records. Let's look at some of the headlines. Look at that, chat. And I didn't peek. I just know this happened. Trump's $100,000 H-1B fee sparks a global race to grab top talent. What this means, again, chat, is companies have a high fee to pay in order to get people holding these H-1B visas. Because we're talking about global talent, right? There can be, and I'm sure there are, people in the United States that are brilliant, that are just geniuses. But all the geniuses don't exist in America. There are geniuses that may be in every country. We just don't know they exist. Some of them get the H-1B visas and they come and they do certain work. So what this is saying is a global race to grab top talent because it's so expensive to basically house or employ a person with an H-1B visa. You want to make sure it's worth it. Because if you had, for example, 10,000 employees with H-1B visas, and now your fee is going up to $100,000, you're going to go from 10,000 employees to down to like 1,000, which is really going to hurt the job market. Not necessarily in America, but it's going to hurt the job market in some of these countries that are high H-1B visa countries, right? Companies are going to lean more towards, I'm going to just hire someone who's American. But at the same time, there may be somebody in India. There may be somebody in Denmark, or there may be someone that lives in Besco's house that is like, I could do this work, and they're really good at doing that work. And the companies are fighting for that person, right? So the fee sparks chaos, confusion among Chinese talents in U.S. Big tech, foreign government scramble after 100K H-1B visa fee. India feels the sting as Trump slaps. See, they're naming the countries, chat. They're telling you right there. The reason why you have to pay attention to stuff like this, especially when it comes to investing, because when you're investing, it's more than just buy the company you like, right? It's more than just buying what you own, right? I got a closet full of Nike tech. Not really, chat. But if I did, investing is more than just saying I buy Nike clothes. Let me also buy Nike stock. It's more than that. You have to pay attention to certain things, especially if you're not just buying and holding for the long term. Here's a tip. Again, this is entertainment purposes. The longer you plan on holding a stock, the less you really need to know about the inner workings of day-to-day things that are going on. I know, right? I know. We really should be clapping for that information. Because what does that tell a newer person. That means if you're going to buy, and I like using Apple as an example, if you're going to buy Apple stock and you're like, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to hold it for 10 years, do I need to care about how well the iPhone 17 does? Not really. If I'm planning on holding it for 10 plus years, like by the time I'm ready to let the stock go or whatever the case is, decision I want to make in the future, 10 years from now, I mean, we're going to be on iPhone 27. You feel me? So why do I care about how iPhone 17 does? I told you guys before, the stock market goes up, the stock market goes down. It does that back and forth through history. That's what it's going to do. It's going to make all-time highs. It's going to make all-time lows. That's just what it's going to do, right? But why this information matters regarding the H-1B visas, because if you're a person who's not holding something for 10 years, you're a person, now we're going to get into it, start really including some of the more advanced people as well. If you are a person that trades in the derivative markets, you trade options, things like that, you're a day trader, you need to know this because the market is down right now. And because it doesn't necessarily matter because the market is going to go down and up. If you're only buying something for a day or a week or whatever the case is, let's go to Yahoo Finance, then that news matters because the stock that you may have planned to buy today or that you bought on Friday and held over the weekend could very well just be going down. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong ticker. It could very well be going down because of that news, right? Amazon, can't say that this 0.34% going down is because of that news, but I did tell you a list came out and it said Amazon is one of the highest employers of H-1B visas. So it wouldn't shock me if I saw that Amazon today just started going down. How much could it go down? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and play the guessing game. I'm just going to use the information in front of me and keep it at that, right? So that's how we want to look at that information, chat. Let's move on. Trump administration reportedly plans to link autism to Tylenol use during pregnancy. That is crazy. But again, we're not here to make judgments. We're here to make our own assumptions and think about how that can affect things. Tylenol. Do you believe somebody with Trump's power, if they say something like autism is linked to Tylenol use during pregnancy, that Tylenol and the company that runs Tylenol is going to start to go down? Who runs Tylenol, chat? What company owns Tylenol? Johnson & Johnson. J&J, chat. J&J, they're linking or attempting to link Tylenol use during pregnancy to autism. Do y'all realize what that means, chat? Like, if I saw that type of news, listen, some people are not going to care about that type of stuff, but some people are going to take that stuff serious because they don't know how it's going to come out, especially when you come to retail traders. I told you before, a retail trader is somebody like you and I. We don't own this big hedge fund. We don't own this big business. So when a normal person sees stuff like this, they're going to panic. Not going to say what's going to happen to J&J, but it wouldn't surprise me if I saw this stock going down. It wouldn't be surprising. I mean, look, reportedly plans to link autism to Tylenol use. Shout out to Mentality World Gaming. Appreciate you coming through for the entertainment. That's big news, chat. We starting off big. H-1B, the fee. Autism being linked to Tylenol use during pregnancy. Excuse me. Let's move on. Oracle names Clay McGorrick. I don't know if I said that right. McGorrick and Mike Cecilia as co-CEOs. So Oracle getting some new CEOs. Sometimes that's good for companies. Sometimes that's bad, chat. That's our assumption. Stock futures fall to start the week after Dow, S&P. We saw that before. Typically that happens. We refer to that as a pullback, right? When it starts to get to the 10% range, right? So again, let's go back to Yahoo Finance. When we see stocks go down after going up a lot, we consider it a pullback. You see this information over here? This is the S&P futures, right? That's just a little pullback. Pullbacks can range in percentages. When people start to get worried is when they start to get in correction territory. When you see this number right here that currently says negative 0.30, also known as 30 basis points, when you see that says 10, that's when people start to really be like, listen, I think we're heading into bear market territory. For the new ones here, a bull market is when the stock market is consistently going up, right? A bear market is when the stock market is consistently going down. Not saying that's all it's doing, because no matter whether you're in a bull market or bear market, it's going to keep going up and down. But if you saw it going straight down or down at an angle, right, and it's corrected 10%, you may be like, hey, we may be in a bear market. So those are things you have to look out for. Here are Monday's biggest analyst calls: NVIDIA, Apple, Netflix, Amazon, Nike, Micron, GM, and more. Chat, I told you, they're going to say this every single week. They're going to say it every week. Why? These are the top companies. Of course, they're going to be the biggest analyst calls. They're gonna always mention the top companies. Pfizer expands obesity drug pipeline with $7.3 billion deal to buy Metsera. We saw Metsera, and I said before, I didn't know what Metsera is, but there you go. It's something that is going on with obesity that could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I don't know. You got to read the article to find out. Saudi defense pact with Pakistan unlikely to disrupt oil flows to India, source says. India got a lot going on, chat. So if there's Indian companies, you should watch them, especially, again, if you're a day trader or somebody that plays in the short term. Because here you have talks of Saudi defense and oil, and then up here you got talks of H-1B fees. Like, bruh, watch it. Schumer presses Trump to negotiate with Democrats as government shutdown deadline nears. I mentioned this before. The end of the fiscal year for the government, I'm talking about the United States government, right? Because different companies, different organizations can have different fiscal years. The United States government fiscal year runs from October 1st through September 30th. If a bill or a continuation of a bill or some sort of continuing resolution is not passed by October 1st, they'll need to do something to avoid a government shutdown. That means furloughs. That means people not going to work, chat. Stocks making the biggest pre-market moves. Metsera's out here. Compass, Kenvue. If you're a daytime trader, short-term trader, you're like, hey, how do I find companies that I should look for? Listen, all you got to do is look in the articles. They're moving. There's a reason they're moving. They're being linked to different type of obesity drugs and all these other things. You got to pay attention. Dan Oz raises Apple price target to highest on Wall Street. Cites strong iPhone 17 demand. Chat. Let me go full screen for y'all real quick. If you've been rocking with me for a minute, you know one of the issues I have is my phone was trash. It wasn't even an old phone. I literally had a fairly new phone. I had an iPhone 14. That is fairly new. To some people that like to get iPhones or new phones every year, that's going to be old to them, but that was fairly new. I don't like to switch phones unless I have to, but my phone was just straight up sat tripping, right? It was set tripping on me, cuz. You feel me? Listen, nowadays though, I'm not going to flip my screen around because let me see. All right, there we go. Those are my babies when they were younger. But yes, I did upgrade my phone. So if y'all wonder why Apple stock all of a sudden just keeps going up, it's because of this one iPhone that I purchased. So I did get an iPhone 17 Pro, chat. So I'm back in business. My phone is working and I can receive text messages now. My other phone was not. So Dan I's raising prices to target to highest on Wall Street, cites strong iPhone 17 demand. Yes, because iPhone in the past, they already said that they were slowing people's phones down. If you still think that's a myth, then you need to continue to read the news because they already said it. Yep, you caught. They hit us with the Drewski. You got me. You got me. Right, chat? They were slowing people's phones down. Like, bro, what are you doing to me? I paid all this money for this phone, and now that you have a new one, you're going to slow down my old phone so I can be forced into the new phone? Like, that's crazy, bruh. Buffett's Berkshire totally exits its profitable stake in Chinese EV maker bought because of Munger. R.I.P. Charlie Munger. But Buffett got out of that EV stake. I don't know which EV company that is. It could be BYD. It could be NIO. I don't know. We're making an assumption, but you know they exited the position. So if you see EV stocks going down, you know why. ETFs versus mutual funds, key differences for investors. Listen, this is an article that folks need to check out. And maybe we'll go into some of that too. I'm going to keep that one open, chat, because I did want to mention ETFs to you guys today. And I really, in terms of mentioning it, I want to show you like where you can go to find out what equities or what holdings, I should say, are within ETFs. The Fed cut its interest rate, but long-term rates, including those on mortgages, went higher. Listen, it's a sticky game when it comes to those interest rates. Learning and understanding how interest rates affect markets and the economy, it's confusing. It is. I'm going to be straight up with you. As somebody who actually has a degree in finance, understanding all the intricacies of interest rates is absolutely confusing. I'm going to just be real with you. But I will tell you, when it comes to inflation going up, one thing that should be very clear and very simple for people to understand is shit's going to cost you more money. Right? But let me try to simplify other areas of interest rates. Interest rates go down. That's good for banks. Why is interest rates going down good for banks? Well, let's put it this way. Let's say a month ago, interest rates, we're making up numbers here, chat. We're just entertaining. Interest rates were, let's call it 10%. 10% was the interest rate. We're going to assume only one interest rate exists. 10% is the interest rate. If you have a 10% interest that a bank is giving you and you have to buy a house, a car, right? You get a credit card, you get a personal loan, you get any of those things, and your interest rate's 10%, that's high, right? Now, the Fed cut its interest rate. So now it's saying, hey, interest rates were 10%. Again, we're making up numbers. So take it with a grain of salt, chat. Interest rates are now 5%. That's good for banks because now more people are likely to borrow. If you had people borrowing at 10%, how many people you think are going to borrow at 5%? More, for sure, right? And people are going to take advantage of that opportunity, especially if somebody been eyeing on Zillow that $4 million house they've been saving up for, and interest rates went from 10% to 5%. That may put that house within reach, right? Because now instead of them having, let's call it a $30,000 mortgage, their mortgage may only be $20,000, right? So interest rates lower, good. Interest rates up, bad. Costs you more money, right? And that's interest. That means the money you pay on top of whatever you borrow, right? Shout out to that little bit of education. Morgan Stanley upgrades ASML, says AI tailwinds will boost the stock. There you go. We're always going to see AI talk. T-Mobile names telecom veteran Srini Gopalan as CEO. More CEOs. What's happening with the CEOs, chat? Where are the CEOs going? They're retiring or what? Somebody look it up and let me know. Build-A-Bear Workshop shop is a bright spot in retail, even with tariffs. Dwindling mall traffic. The traffic in malls is definitely going down. Who's keeping some of these malls in business? Listen, chat, there's a mall that exists not close to my house, but in the area. I have no idea how that mall is still open. You cannot tell me that mall, listen, if you're from the DMV, I'm going to just say it. Who's keeping Iverson Mall open? Nothing against Iverson Mall, but there's no way that pizza place and those cookies are keeping that mall running. Like, bro, where's the money coming from? Right? Forestville, who's keeping that mall open? Like, who's still in those malls? Even St. Charles Mall, bruh. Sure, it's in a better area than Iverson Mall, but who's keeping that mall open? Like, Dick's is the anchor store. Kohl's, trash Macy's. Listen, Macy's is not a trash store. But Macy's, you need to do your research because the way they treating some of your stores is crazy. Macy's is supposed to be technically, we'll call it a middle-class luxury store. They got jewelry and nice clothes and all kinds of stuff in there. Sneakers and whatever else they sell. You're supposed to be able to go to Macy's and get everything. Macy's be hosting parades and stuff. But some of these stores, Macy's, listen, you need to do a CEO undercover, or you need to do undercover CEO. Undercover CEO. You need to do a what they call a secret shopper. Because some of those stores, listen, Nordstrom would never. I literally, if I have to buy something like that, I would literally go to Nordstrom before Macy's, just because the way they treat some of the Macy's stores is crazy. I remember I bought a brand new pair of shoes, chat. A brand new pair of shoes. I don't buy a ton of shoes. Brand new pair of shoes. Got all nice, put the shoes on, walked up the steps at my friend's house, and the bottom of the shoe fucking ripped right off of it. I'm talking a brand new shoe, chat. Macy's has Toys R Us. Toys R Us making a comeback too. I don't know if anybody saw that. Shout out to the City Rat for joining. But Macy's is not a bad store, but some of their stores get treated bad. And it could be the employees that work at that store. But once upon a time, you go to Macy's as a kid or something like that. I mean, that was like, yo. Just walking through Macy's to get into the regular mall was like, yo, Macy's is nice. Now you walk in there, why does it take so long for someone to come and show you a watch or show you fragrance? Those are high-priced items. There should be people there. Like, it shouldn't be two people guarding polo shirts and shit. Anyway, that's enough about that. Build-A-Bear just be shutting the game down. Like, they be sending kids there on their birthday. Like, how old did you turn? 2? Oh, okay, give me $2 and you can Build-A-Bear. What? Oh, you turned 1 today? Oh, happy birthday. Give me $1, little man. You can Build-A-Bear. Like, yo, Build-A-Bear's model, I don't know what it is, but it obviously works. The real driver for stocks trading at all-time highs, according to this strategist. Okay. Strategist, whatever. Read the article if you want. Trump reportedly wields golden share to halt U.S. steel plant shutdown. Again, I'm not here to make judgment calls, but we are making some assumptions. And I am still on the fence about figuring out what Trump's plan is. And maybe he has it written all out. And whether it be Project 2025 or whatever other documents exist that I probably haven't read. But the guy is doing something. He knows what he's doing. I don't know what the ultimate plan is, but he's doing something. He's halting U.S. steel plant. Listen, he's trying to bring jobs back to America. Maybe he tired of interest rates. It's costing him too much money to do the things that he wants to do. So he's trying to fix it. I don't know. We're making assumptions. Here are big three things you were watching in the stock market this week. Apple takes control of all core chips in iPhone Air with new architecture to prioritize AI. People have been talking about these iPhones, and they've been talking about how good the battery lasts and how the phones aren't getting hot, things like that. So shout out to Apple. Trump says Murdochs are potential TikTok deal partners. How are we still talking about TikTok deals? Is that not over? TikTok is here. Amex Business Platinum versus Chase Sapphire Reserve Business. If you own an Amex card, definitely check it out because they've changed some of their like reward structures. One of the rewards I am familiar with is now you can buy Lululemon. So they give you like $75 a quarter or something on like the Amex Platinum to buy Lululemon. I don't know of all the perks, but definitely check it out. They're mentioned right there. Family offices are still keen on direct deals, but retreat from startup early stage investing. Those are your headlines, chat. Those are your headlines. The market is about to open. We're going to switch gears in a second because I do want to touch on one of these articles that was in there, which is the ETFs versus mutual funds, right? ETFs versus mutual funds. Key differences for investors. So we're going to take a look at some of these key points, and then afterwards, we're going to look at how do I find out what holdings are in such ETFs. So key points. An ETF, which is an exchange-traded fund, and mutual funds are similar, but also have key differences that may be significant for investors. ETFs tend to be cheaper and save investors money on taxes, experts said. I am not the expert, chat. I'm here entertaining you. But if you want to know which one is cheaper, it's right there. ETFs are scarce in 401k plans, though. Probably because they're cheaper. Them 401k plans want to get that fee. They also lose their relative tax advantage in tax-preferred retirement accounts. There you go. There's some of the key points. I'm assuming that this article is going to touch on deeper in some of those key points. Let's see how long the article is. It's not too long. Let's take a look at some of the information, chat. To the average investor, mutual funds and exchange-traded funds may not seem very different. After all, they're both relatively liquid baskets of stocks, bonds, and other assets overseen by professional money managers and can help investors diversify their portfolios. But there are some key differences that make one a better financial choice than the other for certain investors, according to experts. So how they trade. Perhaps the most obvious difference is how investors trade ETFs and mutual funds. ETFs trade like stocks. See that? Investors buy or sell them on the stock exchange. By comparison, mutual funds transact directly with the fund itself. So there's a key difference. You want one that trades like a stock, whether that be you buying it for the long term or buying in the derivative market, options, whatever, ETF's your man. Mutual fund investors transact directly with the fund itself. So while investors can place mutual fund trades during the business day, y'all listening? They won't know their transaction's exact price per share until the end of the day. I don't know about y'all, but if y'all trading close to your budget, your balance, whatever the case is, just understand that you don't know your transaction exact price until the end of the day. However, ETF investors know their exact price when they transact. And you can put in different methods of buying, right? You can do limit orders, which we haven't covered yet. You can do market orders, which is buying at whatever price they're offering, right? These differences generally matter more for day traders, but not the average buy and hold investors. I said that earlier, chat. A lot of stuff that comes to the day-to-day, whether it be business or trading, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, if you're going to buy and hold for the long term, a lot of that stuff really doesn't matter. It's really about doing your due diligence up front, making sure you're not investing in a company that's fraudulent. And if you invest in the company, then you just hold it. I mean, it's not that hard, honestly. So that's the key tip for the new investors. For those still looking to purchase their very first ETF, their very first stock, whatever. Find a company you like with the research and tools that I've been showing. And once you establish that, hold it. A lot of people say, look around your house, see what products you buy often and see who owns that company, invest in that company, because they're more than likely on the New York Stock Exchange. A certified financial planner and wealth manager, blah, blah, blah. Investors can hurt themselves financially by trading too frequently, right? Because fees are associated with trades. So you can just imagine you're going to be burning down some of your profit if you keep trading in and out of trades. That's what hurts some day traders. That's what hurts most day traders, because 95% of traders don't actually succeed. Well, they trade a lot. Like some people, not saying all, this doesn't apply to all, but some people really think they know everything about the stock market. They really think they know exactly when the stock market is going to go up, when it's going to go down. Yes, there are indicators and things you could use to determine when that may happen, but most people don't know that shit. Even in a scenario where you want to sell intraday, it's often emotion-based and usually not a good way to invest, right? A lot of investing is emotional because it's tied to your hard-earned money. So of course it is. ETFs are way more tax efficient. So taxes and fees are much more consequential differences for everyday investors. For example, ETFs can save certain investors from a big year-end tax bill that mutual fund shareholders might otherwise incur. In this case, the taxes are capital gains, which are taxes owed on investment profits. So if you make profits on the ETFs you're purchasing, that comes through in capital gains. And that may save you, according to them, from a big year-end tax bill. Fund managers can generate such taxes within a fund when they buy and sell securities. Those capital gains then get passed along to all fund shareholders who owe a tax bill even if they reinvest those distributions. That, chat, is a huge thing. So mutual funds are basically actively managed. So as these fund managers buy and sell within the fund, they're selling and buying based off of profit, right? Not saying that's the only thing that happens, but what they're telling you here is those buys and sells within the funds actually generate taxes, and those taxes get passed along to the shareholders, right? However, ETF investors rarely owe these tax bills. Just 6.5% of U.S. stock ETFs distributed capital gains to investors in 2024, compared to 78% of U.S. stock mutual funds. Listen, chat. That's huge. That's a huge number. 78% of U.S. stock mutual funds distributed capital gains to investors. I mean, yeah, it's good to have capital gains, but again, I'm not a tax accountant. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a tax advisor. I'm not a tax lawyer. You got to talk to someone who knows and is a professional and is licensed to understand the implications this has, but just know they passing on them taxes. The trend was similar for international stock funds. About 6% of ETFs distributed capital gains versus 42% of mutual funds, right? Sometimes mutual fund investors get a bit of a nasty surprise in the form of capital gains and a tax bill, said Lee Baker, a certified financial planner based in Atlanta and a member of CNBC's Financial Advisor Council. I am not a financial planner either. But shout out to this article. ETFs are way more tax efficient. So if you're somebody who's worried about taxes, blah, 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 this is giving you the bottom line up front, the bluff, if you will. That's a huge advantage over the long term. However, there are certain times when ETFs can't make in-kind transfers and may therefore create a taxable event. For example, many kinds of derivatives, currency trades, and when handling securities from certain international jurisdictions like India, South Africa, and Brazil. India, again, in the articles. Again, chat. Again. Also, ETF's tax advantage only exists for investors who hold their funds in a taxable brokerage account. It disappears for those who hold their funds in a tax sheltered account, like a 401k or IRA, individual retirement account. So ETF's tax advantage only exists for investors who hold their funds in a taxable brokerage account. So if you have a taxable brokerage, then the tax advantage exists. ETFs cheaper in pretty much every way. And this could be an article selling you on ETFs, honestly. I said that you have to look at each of these things with an open mind and bias, right? So I think we get the point. Mutual funds are more expensive. ETFs may be a better deal for a lot of people, but not saying it's the best in every situation. So shout out to that article. But in ETF, right? One of the ETFs is, I know them, but I just want to show you guys. Top ETFs. We want top ETFs in general, right? Let's look at the top ETFs, chat. So a wide range of top exchange traded funds, ETFs, are available, catering to different investment goals such as broad market exposure, high growth, dividend income, or ESG criteria, right? The best ETF for you depends on your investment strategy, risk tolerance, and time horizon. So let's take a look at some of the top ETFs, right? Some general ETFs. What I'm going to show you applies to all ETFs because I'm just trying to show you how to find out what's in the holding. Because as we mentioned a couple of streams ago, ETFs are a good way to diversify your portfolio. So don't get me wrong, chat. We've been talking about purchasing a stock, right? An equity. But don't think you can't just buy into an ETF and cover your basis when it comes to all these different investments. So top ETFs for broad market and large cap exposure. For straightforward, diversified investments that track major market indices, these low-cost ETFs are popular choices. Top on the list, VOO. Tracks the performance of the S&P 500 index, providing exposure to 500 of the largest U.S. companies. It is known for its exceptionally low expense ratio, making it a favorite among long-term investors. So first of all, let's look up and see how much VOO will cost you. If you want to buy one share of VOO, it's going to cost you $610.66. 73 cents, 72 cents. All right. But that's not a bad price considering what you may get from there, right? And what you may, and what you may get from there, as they mentioned, is low expense ratio and making it a favor for a long-term investor. Now, what I want to show you is this website. This website, which is etfdb.com, ETF, Exchange Traded Fund Database, etfdb.com, is one of those channels or one of those websites, not the only, where you can find holdings for ETFs. What do I mean by holdings? ETFs are a basket. It's a diversified investment. So instead of you doing all the work, trying to figure out how to diversify, and I did show you a way you could do that as well. One of the ways is just buying an ETF. So here's what the page looks like, right? And even has popular ETFs on here. So if you want to look at popular ETFs, you can actually just scroll right down and look at popular ETFs. But the one we were talking about, VOO, right? You see this search on the top right? You can actually just type it in, but VOO is on that list because it is a top favorite again, right? So it gives you the vitals, right? So it gives you the issuer, so Vanguard, brand, Vanguard, expense ratio. It told you it's one of the lowest at 0.03%. And it gives you other information. So it gives you the ETF homepage. So you can go right here and learn a lot about it. But what I want to show you specifically is right on the left. You see that? Go down a couple. And you see holdings. Out of this call it 100% of the holdings in this ETF, making up the $610. How does the ETF holdings break down? Here's a key tip, chat. When True is looking at ETFs, I look at the top 10 holdings. I don't need to see the long list of holdings. I don't. I just want to know what the top 10 are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Meta Platforms, Broadcom, Alphabet, both the Class A, Class C, Tesla, and Berkshire Hathaway. Those are the top 10. If you want to get into the top 15, they have the other 5 listed here as well. JP Morgan, Visa, Eli Lilly, Netflix, and ExxonMobil. This is what you get when you invest in VOO. Not all you get, but these are the top 15 holdings. If you add up this percentage, it'll tell you how much it comes up to. These are the top holdings, right? And it gives you information on the top holdings as well, too. Not only can you get it here, so dividend and value information, expense ratio and fees, holding analysis charts, etc. You can get all this information, but you can also go straight to their homepage and get some additional details as well. Right? But look at this. It's not bad. If you're planning on keeping this for 10 years, VOO, based on market price or net asset value, almost 15% return. Not too shabby. In 3 years, almost 20. Not too shabby, chat. That's VOO. Right? Let's look at another ETF. iShares Core, S&P 500 ETF again. Another option that tracks the S&P 500 with the minimal expense ratio and a massive size. It is nearly identical in performance and cost to VOO. So first, let's look up how much does it cost. So that we're talking IVV. That's the iShares Core. $665. So when they say close in price, they're talking over $600, chat. Let's go back. ETFDB.com, right? Again, you can see all the different popular ETFs down here, but again, we can just type it in. We type in IVV. You see the iShares Core S&P 500, chat. BlackRock. Brand iShares. Expense ratio, similar. Right? Y'all see that? ETF homepage. The ETF homepage is right there, chat. iShares by BlackRock. Look at this. Look at this, chat. I'm showing you exactly where to go to get your information. Notice how I'm not focused on telling you buy this, buy that. I'm not going to do that because first of all, I'm not licensed. But I'm showing you how you can go about learning about these things, where you can find information. Look, you can get a product brief, a fact sheet, a prospectus. You can download data. Look, all the information you need is right here. That's why I always tell you guys, we like to read because you'd be surprised how much you learn just from reading certain things. Right? So if we go to holdings, again, right there. Notice anything? They said it's similar, but look at this. NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Meta, Broadcom, Alphabet, Class A and C, Tesla, Berkshire Hathaway. It's basically the same for this specific one. The percentages might line up differently. The fees might line up differently. But these are the top holdings, chat. These are the top holdings. Now, those are the top ETFs. What about popular? What are the most popular? Because top versus popular are two different things, right? Now, they still have some on here, but look, now we got Invesco QQQ tracks the NASDAQ 100 index, giving it a heavy allocation to technology and growth. I'm going to tell you right now, your boy True love technology. Your boy True love growth. Oh, I love me a good total market fund as well. But I love a growth. You feel me? So let's check out the price first. QQQ. Y'all seen the commercials? I don't know if y'all seen commercials on that. But the type of channels I watch on TV, they show Invesco QQQ commercials all the time. $598, chat. Still up there in that $600 range. Right? Let's go back to ETFDB. I like to start on the home page. Just so you can, look, all this detail they give you. Financial literacy channel. Look at that. They got the QQQ over here. I already showed you, you can easily type it in. Again, if you type it in, QQQ, Invesco QQQ Trust Series, it'll show up for you. But I was able to click on it from the home page, right? Expense ratio of 0.2. So you can see it's a little more expensive than your VOOs or your IVVs. Issuer and brand Invesco. You go to the home page. Here's Invesco, right? I remember I was telling you the difference in individual investor, right? Financial professional or institution. We're just individual investors. Most of us, not going to speak for everyone. But again, this homepage is similar to all the other homepages where you can come here and you can find information on the actual ETF. But again, if you go to holdings, again, they told you it's going to be tech focused. If you look at the top 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. NVIDIA to Netflix. NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple, Broadcom, Amazon, Meta, Tesla, Google, ANC, right? Netflix. And then an additional 5 for you. Costco, Palantir, Cisco, T-Mobile, AMD. Love a good AMD. And you can see how the percentages are different as well. All ETFs are not treated equal, chat. But it is a way to diversify your portfolio quicker. So instead of, maybe you don't have enough money to buy NVIDIA stock and Microsoft and Apple and all these things, but you may have enough to buy one share of QQQ. Right? But that's the ETF database, chat. That is the ETF database. Right? So, and this is going to work for any of those ETFs and things you're looking for. It's gonna show up, and you're gonna be able to find the information. So let's say I'm a fan of, let's say, AI, artificial intelligence ETF. Look at the list. Look at the list, chat. Shout out to Ice in the building. Ice was playing Destiny Rising. W12 plus hour stream. We're talking about ETFs, Ice. We talk about the difference between ETFs and mutual funds. We're talking about how you can find ETFs that you may want to invest in. We're talking about how to find what holdings are in the ETFs. So these are some of your AI, your artificial intelligence ETFs lists. Artificial intelligence is an area of computer science that focuses, and people probably heard AI thousands of times but don't understand what it means. Listen, artificial intelligence is an area of computer science that focuses the creation of intelligent machines that work and react like humans. Your chat GPTs, right? Artificial intelligent ETFs potentially stand to benefit from increased adoption and utilization of artificial intelligence, including those involved with industrial and non-industrial robotics, automation, 3D printing, natural language processing, social media, and autonomous vehicles. I'll give you a couple examples of these. If you're talking social media, they're talking, for example, algorithms. If Ice Flow is always playing mobile games and he goes on Instagram, right, he may see an increased number of pages or advertisements or things associated with mobile gaming and some of the games he plays. Not exactly, but in that realm. That's algorithms. That's the artificial intelligence. Autonomous vehicles, we're talking about people clicking on their Teslas or their other things and letting the vehicle navigate for them, right? Meaning the only interaction you need is to pay attention to the road, and maybe shift the steering wheel a little bit, right? That's autonomous vehicles. 3D printing, I would show you guys, but shout out to the City Rat and some of the folks that he was with, but they do some 3D printing. I got a 3D printed paw print and my kids love it. They still click it to this day, right? 3D printing, right? Industrial robotics. You can think of, for example, a machine that may autonomously water a cornfield, right? It may autonomously unload some of the shipping containers from ships. Anybody ever seen a video where a guy was showing like, all right, we used to do all of these things, and shout out to City Rat. Shout out to the City Rat. But we used to do all these things, right? He says, but now he says, look out there. Everything's automated. He said, you see this line? I just want to show you guys something really quick. You step across this line and all the equipment instantly shuts down because none of the robots want to accidentally run over a human or kill a human or something. So that's an example, but this is AI, but this is a list of ETFs that are involved in artificial intelligence. So if you're someone who's thinking long-term, spoiler alert, True is always thinking about the future because I have children, right? Shout out to the biddies. PR is in the building, right? Shout out to the biddies PR. But these are some of the things you think about. Again, we can go back and you can think about other things, right? Blockchain, cryptocurrencies, right? Is perhaps best known as the technology that underpins cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ether, and competing altcoins, right? So if you are one of those folks that invest in the XRP or the Pepes or the Doge coins, the Bitcoins, the Ethereum, the Litecoins, right? All these things, right? Here are some ETFs that are associated with some of those coins. And if we click on a symbol, we can actually drill down. Again, BlackRock is the issuer, brand iShares. If we want to go to the home page, you can find some of that information here. And if you want to see some of the holdings, you can go here, right? US dollar. You see that, chat? How good is this information? How good is this information? Shaw in the building. How good is this information? Because what ETFs allow you to do is diversify your portfolio without really trying. I told you, if you're going to do buy and hold, you don't have to put that much thought into it beyond the initial research. And initial research could look exactly like this. You can come to a web page. Shout out to Vaughn entering the chat. We got a party going on, chat. It can look just like this. Going to an ETFdatabase.com or another similar site and finding out, okay, how do I find out some of these things? Shout out to Pay for the biddies. Shout out to Pay in the building. Y'all already know. Y'all better get y'all emotes ready. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Y'all better turn the fuck up, chat. W's to the biddies. Everybody coming through out here. Let's go. Let's go. One more time, chat. Y'all know the vibes. W Biddies. Y'all feel me? Shout out to that turn up session. Shout out to Pay. Like I said when I first started the stream, shout out to Pay. Shout out to B. The baby shower did exactly what it did need to do yesterday. All good vibes. Folks showed up. That's exactly what I like to see. Right? So chat, I'm putting you on game. Feel free to ask questions too. But listen, this website, I'm showing you how to diversify. I showed you guys how to manually diversify your portfolio. Now I'm showing you how do you diversify without even trying. To some of the people, look at all the ETF categories, right? We even got the ganja down here. You want to freestyle now? Go ahead, hit your flow, Vaughn. Right? Listen, if y'all don't think, listen to me for a second. Because I mentioned earlier about why you should never judge people. Let them drink, let them smoke, let them do whatever they want to do. But if you don't think that there's people making money off of everything that happens in life, you're fucking wrong. I'm telling you that right now, chat. You're wrong. People are making money off of everything. And I'm just trying to show y'all how they doing it. Because even people who go to, who was it that said, yo, hold up, I need to go to the Zaza shop? Was that Vaughn? Somebody said, I need to go to the Zaza shop real quick. But let me remix it for y'all real quick and show y'all, for the people who out there wearing suits, let me show you what their Zaza shop look like, right? Marijuana ETF list. Marijuana is often referred to as weed, MJ, herb, cannabis, and other slang terms. It's the green or gray dry flowers of cannabis sativa. The main psychoactive chemical in the substance is that T word, THC, which is responsible for the mind-altering state in people when consumed. The second important chemical in marijuana is the cannabinoid, CBD, which has been known to be effective in treating pain, anxiety, and other conditions. Shout out to Vaughn for mentioning the Zaza shop. Let me show you a new Zaza shop, right? It's considered a drug and is illegal, which is absolutely insane, chat, but I'm not here to talk about that. It's considered a drug and is illegal on the federal level, but yet they use it for treating pain and anxiety and other medical conditions. That's crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, marijuana ETFs invest in companies that grow, distribute, or sell marijuana. Research the medical uses of marijuana, such as those in pharmaceutical and biotech industries, have significant exposure to marijuana stocks, such as those in the alcohol and tobacco industries. Listen, I told y'all earlier, one way you can invest is by looking around your house, your apartment, your townhouse, whatever it is, your living situation, and seeing what are the things that you invest in, right? And you can use that. So if I got a closet full of Nike tech, I might want to invest in Nike, because let Nike pay for all my Nike tech. If I'm a smoker, maybe I'll invest in some marijuana ETFs. Let the ETF profits pay for my trip to the Zaza shop, right? Your boy True is not a smoker, right? But either way, the information exists here if you want to invest. Because how is that illegal and other drugs legal that can actually do harm to you? Hey, listen. Listen. You want to have a cannabis lesson stream? Listen, all you got to do is ask. I keep telling y'all, not only y'all going to learn about True, but y'all going to learn that the knowledge that I possess, I can't tell you where it ends. But if you keep showing up, you can feel free to ask questions. Even in a regular stream that I'm doing, y'all can ask questions because I just be chilling. But look at this. Here are some of the ETFs, right? They got one MJ, Amplify Alternative Harvest ETF. MSOS, Advisor Shares Pure U.S. Cannabis ETF. CMBS. I mean, obviously that's short for cannabis, right? But let's just go to MSOS, right? Price. Look at the price of this ETF, chat. Issuer, advisor shares, brand, advisor shares, expense ratio, a little higher. But if we wanted to go to the homepage, we can get additional information on it. The freedom to invest in U.S. cannabis. The U.S. represents the largest market in the world and one that we believe represents the greatest untapped growth potential for cannabis. Sorry, chat. Give me 1 second. Chat, y'all listening? So the holdings, U.S. dollar, derivative securities, mutual funds, Curaleaf, Terra Ascend, Village Farms International, Sundial. I think that's Sundial. Let's double check. I think that's Sundial. Listen. Let's see. Let's see how on point your boy True is. Let's see. SNDL. Come on. Yeah, Sundial Growers. Come on, man. Chat. Come on, man. W's in the chat. Tell them stop playing with me, man. Fluent Corp. Listen. I don't know if y'all missed it, but let me go back real quick. If you buy, and I know Vaughn doesn't, or, if you do, that's cool. But Vaughn goes to the Zaza shop, right? I like to make it personal for folks. He goes to the Zaza shop, right? He does it the smart way because he ain't got time for nobody to be lacing his stuff. But let me tell you, if you're someone who does prefer, we'll call it a reduced price, look at this ETF, chat. $4.44. I don't know how much people are paying for ganja, but I do know, because I'm not oblivious to the world, what a dime bag is. And I'm aware that a dime bag costs $10. You could get 2 shares of this ETF for the price of a dime bag, bruh. Come on, man. At some point, y'all gotta put some respect on my name. You feel me? And let's just take it back just a little bit real quick. And again, this is etfdb.com, right? Let's take it back a little bit. Let's go to another one, MJ, right? Let's amplify investments. Again, we can go to the homepage. And the purposes of us going to the homepage, chat, is because we can go here and get additional information, which can also be found here on the left. But if you want to go to that specific one, why invest in MJ? Look, they're telling you why. Transforming medical treatments. There are many other significant applications for cannabis and THC-based medicines and treatments, ranging from epilepsy to cancer treatment to non-opioid pain management. Come on, chat. Come on. Like, at some point, they got to act like this industry is not out here making bread, and they got to stop acting like people who smoke marijuana are just misdemeanors or whatever the words you want to. Look, bruh. Look at the holdings. Amplify, Sundial, Kronos Group, Aurora Cannabis, right? Canopy Growth, High Tide, Village Farms. These are individual companies. We're talking about ETFs. Shaw says, I definitely do legal dispensaries. Not sure if the reduced man sells dime bags anymore. Hey, shout out to that. Hey, patent pending on that word reduced man. That's what we're going to call him. The reduced man. It's changed in New York City now that we are legal. I bet it's changed everywhere since they're legal. Legal. I can only assume, right? If somebody is actually a smart entrepreneur, that if they want to stay competitive, they're going to increase their prices. But let me tell you something. This one's $32.16. You can also invest in any of these individual equities as well, chat. So we can literally type in that ticker symbol, WEED, Roundhouse. Oh, that's Roundhouse Cannabis ETF. Canopy Growth. I think Canopy Growth was CG something. Let's type it in. CGC. Right? $1.35. I'm not telling you what to invest in. I'm just showing you that the options are here and available at your disposal. You feel me? You could be investing in, if you like to spend a lot of your money on marijuana products, you can also invest in it in the stock market. I'm just showing you how to diversify your portfolio and make money while you do it. You feel me? Because like we said, at some point, things going to have to change. I'll put y'all on to game that I would feel confident saying that more than 50% of people in this chat don't know that this product not only exists, but may go mainstream at some point and you'll start seeing about it. Does anyone in the chat have asthma or asthma-like symptoms? Again, this is only for entertainment. Do y'all know, right? And just so I'm giving y'all the right information, I'm going to type in the proper name for an inhaler, right? Or maybe I should have said the medical name. What's the medical name for an inhaler, right? Whatever that word says, bronchodilator, a meter dose inhaler, a dry powder inhaler. Listen, chat. Do y'all realize that marijuana inhalers exist? Do y'all realize that? Type a W in the chat if that's the first time you ever heard that. Shaw had asthma all her life. That's why she was scared to use cannabis until she found out that in 2021 it can help. But in 2025, you found out that not only could it help, but they actually make inhalers with THC in it. Right? And I'm not talking about the pens that some people have, right? I don't know what the pen's called. The vape pen or whatever that has like the, whatever that people use to, get lifted. I'm talking about an inhaler, chat. Yes, they do exist. You got to put some respect on the kid's name. Right? So again, you can see all of these different categories. All these different categories that can point you not only in the right direction of an ETF, but it can also point you into the right direction of stocks that you may want to invest in. I love semiconductors, chat. Here's the ETF. VanEck Semiconductors, VanEck, right? Again, I just keep showing y'all, but you can go to the home page. So you can go to the actual page for that ETF. Why do I love semiconductors? Because semiconductors are in everything. They're in your stream decks. They're in your computers. They're in your cell phones. They're in your speakers. They're in your headphones, right? They're all over the place. And let's look at some of the holdings, right? I told you I like the top 10. NVIDIA, TSM, Broadcom, Micron, Advanced Micro Devices, Lam Research, ASML, KLA, Intel, Applied Materials, right? So I can invest in this ETF, SMH, for about $318 and have access to all these holdings. Or if I want to invest in the individual equities, I can just buy them separately. I can buy a Taiwan Semiconductor. I can buy an AMD Advanced Micro Devices. Am I spitting or nah? But again, there's other websites that are similar to this, but this is etfdb.com. I encourage you to go and check it out. Again, they have all these different popular ETFs. You want China ETFs, you want ones dealing with real estate, whatever the case is, chat, it's here. Gaming. We're on Twitch. A lot of people do gaming. Hero. I won't gatekeep and let y'all know in the past I have made money off of Hero. You feel me? If I go to Hero, I can, again, go to the homepage. That information is included here as well. But if you want to go directly to the homepage, Global X, if I want to look at the holdings, look at what they're investing in, chat. Look what they're investing in. EA Sports. It's in the game. Quick little ad break. I'll hold off for a quick second to make sure that our folks can get back in here. Quick little second. Quick little Advil. Make sure y'all sub up. You feel me? Support the channel. But look at this. If you're still watching right now, look at this, chat. I feel like Jay-Z right now. Giving you $1 million worth of game for how much is a sub? $4.99? This is a gaming ETF. Electronic Arts, NetEase, Roblox, Konami, Take-Two. And if you're a serious gamer, you heard about some of these. Nintendo, Unity Software, Nexon, Billy, shout out to Billy, Kingsoft, Square Enix, CD Projekt, International Game Systems, Capcom, Crafted. Like, come on. Come on, chat. Come on, chat. What more do you want from me? And just so Vaughn can see it again, look at this gaming ETF. Electronic Arts, NetEase, Roblox, Konami, Take-Two Interactive, Nintendo, Unity Software, Nexon, Billy, Kingsoft, Square Enix, CD Projekt, International Games, Capcom, Crafted. Come on. After this, nobody should be able to be like, yo, I don't know where to start searching for certain equities or blah, blah. Yo, right here. I'm showing you. You want to invest in water? Gaming? Marijuana? FANG stocks? Aggressive growth? India? Travel? You feel me? And that was just, again, if I go back to gaming, that was just one ETF. That was just Hero. Look at all these ETFs. They may all have something different in there. This game. This is straight up game, chat. You know what I'm saying? Straight up game. So yeah, I encourage you all to take advantage of that. So we looked at the differences between the ETFs and mutual funds. We did our article rundown per usual. You can see the NASDAQ is currently up. I told y'all before, stocks go up, stocks go down, right? They do all of that. Shout out to Solo in the building, right? So don't let just the up and down of the daily stuff fool you. Don't let it get you twisted. Do your research. Grayscale, CoinDesk, Crypto, 5 ETF. You see? GDLC. I showed y'all. Y'all can search as well. You know what I'm saying? You can search on here also. You can search a number of different things. Right, chat? So listen. Make sure that you tune in. Make sure you support the channel. Make sure you understand that, hey, True's giving out some entertainment. I told y'all before, I'm not an advisor. I'm none of those things. I'm not licensed. Do I know where to find some things? I may. And if you have questions, don't be shy. Don't feel like you can't come on here and ask a question, because I'll put you on. I didn't show y'all how to do all things. I didn't show y'all today how to straight up level up off break. Because again, I know that not just the community, but also Twitch as a whole has folks that like to indulge in a little Zaza. But I encourage you, next time you indulge in your Zaza, just be like, oh man, I remember when True was talking about etfdb.com and how I can find out things on there. But look, it's already up 12 cents, chat. 12 cents, right? The full change is 11 cents, but since we last looked at it, it's up 12 cents. But chat, there's certain things you could do. You can allow yourself to make profit by investing in ETFs. And you can let, for example, you can let Nike pay for your Nike Tech, right? You can let Imsos pay for your Zaza trip, right? Because again, if you don't think people in Wall Street and other people that's managing hedge funds aren't doing the same thing, your ass is tripping. Somebody left the chat on that one. Your ass is tripping. If you don't think they're also in their offices smoking up, buying these ETFs, making bread, your ass is tripping. Don't be tripping, chat. Make sure you do your research, and I'm showing you how to do that. Come on now, that's a W. That's a W. W's in the chat. But y'all know the vibes. True got to go ahead and get on his work thing. You know what I'm saying? Step back in the building. Y'all know the vibes. I'm going to keep putting y'all on. Monday. Because I could extend it to other days if I want, but for right now, it's Monday because I'm starting y'all week off right. I'm showing y'all here. Here's some of the things you need to pay attention to. This week, I told you, the top things you got to pay attention to, at least at this point, is this H-1B visa situation. This is going to affect companies. Pay attention to this. Trump administration reportedly plans to link autism to Tylenol use during pregnancy. Come on now. We don't have all of our research. I didn't even click on the article, but what if it's true? What if it's true that Tylenol use during pregnancy increases the chances of autism? Y'all don't think Johnson & Johnson, who owns Tylenol, is going to be affected by that news? WAP. We're going to go check out WAP. But again, stop playing with that boy. Shout out to that information. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate y'all always coming through. Appreciate all the biddies. Appreciate all the subs. Constantly. Y'all constantly show up for me and I'm going to show up for y'all. But let's get ready to raid out and I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Let's go. Let's go. W biddies. Listen, at some point, y'all gonna have to get y'all notepads ready over the weekend, and y'all gotta be like, we need to load up on some questions to ask True. Don't miss this game. I'm teaching y'all. Listen, in that building where Shaw was out there rubbing on the Bulls' golden balls. Sorry, Shaw. This is what they're doing on the inside of that building. Don't be sleep, chat. Don't be sleep. This is absolutely what they're doing. This is what they're doing. Let's go raid WAP. And when that beat drop, we're going through. Check out the ZA ETF. I showed you that the MSOS. I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying this shit is less than $5. It's less than $5. You know what I'm saying? Mess around and round up. W Biddy step back. Mess around and round up your total. If your total at the ZA shop is 75, use that other $5 and go ahead and buy that ZA ETF. Come on now. Make money while you're chilling. If y'all don't think I'm going to teach y'all how to get this bread, you're tripping. You're tripping. We going to come up together, bruh. Telling y'all right now. But appreciate the biddies. We're gonna go check out WAP. Make sure y'all show him support. Y'all definitely going ahead. I appreciate y'all. On the next one, let's go.